So this was going to be a live stream and I was going to go through all these posts together, but I decided not to because I don't think that there's enough here to make it worth it. Now, what I am going to do is link the X account of the person who's exposing this stuff so you guys can go read for yourself, but I'll summarize it for you. These Tim Walz posts, I became aware of them on Friday and posted a little bit about them, made a couple videos talking about them. And I'm not sure that this guy is doing what he thinks he's doing. All that this guy has exposed so far. I'm gonna give you all the evidence that people have posted, because there's two different guys. One of them posted an interview with someone who claims to have been a foreign exchange student at the school where Tim Walz taught, and claims that Tim Walz had a sexual relationship with him. The other one is a guy that, so this guy, DocNet YouTube, he's the guy that's dropping all these posts, and I've linked him in the description once again. DocNet YouTube is interesting to me because if you go look at his account, he's got a very clear agenda. He has ideas. He's very ambitious. Since he mentioned that he has his hands on this stuff, his following, when I started following him on Friday, he had 154,000 followers. That was a couple hours after he said he was going to drop all this stuff. He's now almost to 300,000 followers. This is absolutely, he's trickling it out because it's a follower grab. He's trying to get as many people to follow him in anticipation of this. And then if, 60% of them decide to unfollow him afterward, that's fine. He still netted 40% because a lot of us aren't really interested in what he has to say other than this. But it's a nice way for him to get a whole lot of follows, a whole lot of eyes on his posts, and a nice little, amount of cash from the ads from Twitter. Good little bit of ad revenue for this guy. I'm not saying that he's doing this just for money necessarily, but what I'm saying is there's definitely a motivation there. Now, I'm going to summarize these posts. There's 7 posts so far. The first 3 are just him saying, somebody reached out to me. I didn't, they said they've got some dirt on Tim Walz if he becomes the VP candidate. He didn't really respond. Person reached out again and said, I've got some dirt. He didn't really respond. Third time, person reaches out and says, hey, I really need to talk to you. This has to do with like abuse and that sort of thing. And he mentioned the Indigo girls in that particular message. Well, then that made DocNet decide that he was going to pay a little closer attention. And once he started paying closer attention, started corresponding with this guy, he sent a message, and he's recorded that in the 4th post. So we're up to 4 posts, and nothing has actually happened other than a guy saying, I've got some dirt. The 4th post, the DocNet guy sends a message, and he screen records it as he does it to the Harris campaign, addresses it to Vice President Harris, and says, I'm working on a story where someone says they've got allegations of abuse against Tim Walz. Do you have anything to say? Doesn't get any response, but he recorded himself doing that with a timestamp, I guess so that he can say that he reached out to them. And then immediately after that is when that story about the Indigo Girls concert that I linked in a previous video, that actual story came out after he had done that. So he's implying that because he told them that he had evidence of this and that these accusers were coming forward, that's why that story dropped. So that's his implication there. And once again, I've linked his channel down in the description, or his X account. Go read it yourself. Now, the 5th, 6th, and 7th posts, they're correspondence between this guy and the alleged victim. Alleged victim giving some details and saying, I need to, I can't do this right now. I'll have to send you a separate letter. Sends him another letter. Okay, here's, some more details. Post number 7 is the one of most interest. In that post, the alleged victim says that Tim Walz took him to the concert, took him back to his house, got him naked, gave him oral sex, tried to convince the kid that the kid was gay, lied about his military career, which I find a little fascinating. Apparently talked about serving in Desert Storm and how he was mostly deaf from that, which I don't believe he did serve in Desert Storm, but that's, so that's about it. That's what's here. So what this guy has posted is allegations from an unnamed source that Tim Walz sexually abused him. And then to corroborate that, there's the other guy who's linked on this guy's website. I didn't take too much time looking at it because it just, it's an allegation, I'm aware that it's there and I'm keeping an eye on it, but that's all it is at the end of the day, is just an allegation. So, the other, the foreign exchange student that I talked about before, talking about how, he was abused by Tim Walz. So there's a couple of photos that have been shared as well. Tim Walz's leg, allegedly, on a top bunk while there's kids sitting on the bottom bunk. And then Tim Walz with a glass of, like, a drink, and kids around him with drinks, ostensibly in China. And then there's just a whole lot of allegations. Now, what I would caution you, and like I said, once again, go follow the link in the description and read over this stuff for yourself and see what people are saying. But I would caution you about this in a big way, not only because there is no evidence that's been presented that any of this is legitimate. None. Now, if you have someone that would maybe come forward, show their face, prove they went to this school, prove that, start dropping more circumstantial evidence about this, maybe. But as of right now, this is an allegation by an unnamed person. I'm encouraging you, if you're interested in this, you're most likely, and heard about it, you're most likely someone who's on the right. Imagine if this came out about Donald Trump or J.D. Vance. You would be the first one to jump and say, this is a baseless allegation. In fact, when we talk about E. Jean Carroll, and her case where, even though they said that Trump was not guilty, he was possibly liable, which in my mind doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And they required that he pay a fine. The conservative side of the room is, up in arms, saying this is just an allegation, there's no evidence. Well, this particular allegation against Tim Walz has even less evidence. There's not even a face to it. There's not even a person actually coming out and saying this. It's through proxy, somebody who's sharing pieces of, printouts of emails that say this. There's no name attached. And I'm not saying that this person has to out themselves or anything like that. What I am saying is that how in the world, like an allegation of this weight about a vice presidential candidate, I'm sorry, you need evidence. You need some evidence for that. You cannot just say something like that and expect it to be taken very seriously. I personally don't believe this. Like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on it. And when I learn more, I'll let you guys know. But this, what I've told you about these posts, there's not more to it than that. I'm not leaving out details. This is a comprehensive look at what is in all 7 of those posts. There's just not any substance. I was actually really looking forward to this information drop because he hyped it up big time on Friday. So when the first bits of information started coming out yesterday and today, I was very quickly, went over and started reading them. And my very first impression, like without even thinking, like my gut reaction was, oh, this is bullshit. Like if I saw this allegation about anybody I know, any politician, I would sit there and say, I think this is made up. Now, don't get me wrong, more evidence can come out. But as of right now, I don't think anybody should be placing any amount of weight on these allegations. Tim Walz is a strange individual, but that doesn't mean that he touches kids. And maybe he is, the worst grooming pedophile ever. The information on this guy's X account does not prove that. So I encourage you to go read these posts and then come back here and comment. Tell me what you think. I would go through them, except that what I've told you, that's literally what's there. First 4 posts are: guy contacts me, I don't reply. Guy contacts me, I don't reply. Guy contacts me, I see the Indigo Girls thing, so I, send a message to the Harris campaign. Harris campaign, in his mind, starts dropping that, allowing that story to come out about the Indigo Girls. And then those next 3 posts are: here's a little piece saying, oh yeah, he touched me. Here's a little piece saying, here's a couple details, he touched me. And then post 7 is, here's a detailed letter, with some disturbing stuff, which you probably see in the thumbnail. Tim Walz, alleging Tim Walz sucked this guy off. That's what's there. There's nothing else. There's no corroborating evidence on this. And I need you to understand that. Don't go running around yelling about this. All you're going to do is kill your own credibility if you go start saying, Tim Walz is a child molester. Not only are you going to kill your own credibility, you're going to make your side look really bad and really stupid, especially if this all turns out to be a hoax. There's just not enough evidence to talk about this in certain terms. By all means, keep an eye on it. That's the reason I've linked it, so that you guys can take a look. But I don't believe it right now. I don't think that it's... based on what we know now, if I had to make a determination, yes or no, I would say no. I would say I don't believe it. But that's why we have a court, and that's why, we wait for evidence. So anyway, I think I've covered it in as much detail as I need to. Like I said, link is in the description to the original posts on X. So yeah, feel free to go look at it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.